The taser crackled. The old man's body convulsed, 92 years old, crumpling to the concrete like a rag doll. Officer Martinez watched him fall. Didn't flinch. The crowd at Penn Station gasped. Someone screamed. But Martinez just holstered his weapon and called it in. Suspect down. Disorderly conduct resolved. The old man lay there, gray hair matted with sweat, cheap jacket torn at the shoulder. His walking cane had skittered away, spinning across the platform like a broken promise. Nobody helped him up. Crazy old fool, someone muttered. The man had been shouting. Something about trains, about schedules, about how things used to run on time. His voice had that raspy quality of someone who'd smoked too much, lived too hard. Security footage would later show he'd been there for 3 hours, just standing, watching trains come and go, muttering to himself like so many homeless veterans who haunted the station. When the 4:17 to Washington was 15 minutes late, he'd snapped, "This is unacceptable." His voice had cut through the crowd noise. "People are depending on this train." Commuters rolled their eyes. Another crazy old man making everyone's day worse. "Sir, you need to calm down." Martinez had approached with that practiced authority, hand already drifting toward his belt. "You don't understand." The old man's eyes were wild. "There are protocols. There are procedures. This train should have been—" "Sir, I'm not going to ask again." That's when the old man had shoved Martinez. Not hard, but hard enough. His arthritic hands barely made contact, but it was assault on an officer. The taser came out. 50,000 volts. Now he was down, twitching on the dirty platform while commuters stepped around him like he was debris. Martinez called for backup. Standard procedure. Some paramedics too, probably. The old man wasn't moving much anymore. But then something strange happened. A woman in the crowd lowered her phone. She'd been filming like everyone else. But her face had gone white. "Oh my God," she whispered. Her husband looked over. "What?" She was staring at the old man's jacket. It had fallen open when he hit the ground. Inside the torn lining, something glinted. A metal. Old. Tarnished. Silver. "That's a silver star," she said. The crowd started to shift, murmur. Someone else noticed the military bearing in the way the old man lay, even unconscious. Straight spine. Hands positioned just so. A businessman crouched down. Saw more medals pinned inside the jacket. A bronze star. A purple heart. Combat infantry badge. "Jesus Christ." He breathed. But it was too late for sympathy. Martinez was already calling it in. The old man would be arrested. Processed. Another vagrant troublemaker in the system. The crowd began to disperse. The show was over. Except for one person. A young woman at the edge of the platform. She hadn't moved. Hadn't looked away. Her phone was pressed to her ear. "Yes, sir," she was saying. "I'm certain. It's him. It's him. She. Well for maid. 1. IR. Well for mating. Let's. Well. 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 5 minutes passed. The paramedics arrived. Started checking vitals. The old man was conscious now, but groggy. Blood on his forehead where he'd hit the concrete. "What's your name, sir?" the EMT asked. The old man's lips moved, barely audible. "Henry," he whispered. "Henry Morrison." Martinez was filling out paperwork. Another crazy old man processed. Another problem solved. He'd be home for dinner. Then the ground started to vibrate. Not the usual subway rumble. Something else. Something that made the pigeons stop pecking at scattered crumbs and look up at the sky. The first black SUV appeared at the station entrance, then another, then 6 more. They moved with military precision. No sirens, no flashing lights. just silent, deadly purpose. The crowd noticed. Conversations stopped. Everyone turned to watch as men in dark suits emerged from the vehicles. Not police, not FBI, something else entirely. They moved through the crowd like sharks through water. Commuters parted without being asked. The lead man was tall, silver-haired, with the kind of bearing that commanded respect without saying a word. His suit was expensive. His face was granite. He walked straight to where Henry Morrison lay on the platform. Martinez looked up from his paperwork. "Sir, this is a crime scene. You need to—" The man showed his ID. Martinez's face went pale. "Director Thompson, Defense Intelligence Agency." The words hit the crowd like a physical blow. DIA. The Pentagon's most secretive intelligence arm. Thompson knelt beside the old man. His voice was soft, respectful. "Hello, Colonel Morrison." "Colonel." The word rippled through the crowd like electricity. Henry's eyes focused, cleared. He looked up at Thompson with something that might have been relief. "Director," he said. His voice was stronger now, more focused. "The train. It's supposed to be on time." Thompson nodded. "I know, sir. We've been monitoring the situation." The crowd was dead silent now, everyone straining to hear. "You weren't supposed to be here," Thompson continued. "The briefing isn't until 1800 hours. Henry tried to sit up. Thompson helped him. "Gentle. Careful. I wanted to check the route," Henry said. "Old habits." Martinez was staring, his paperwork forgotten. "Sir," he started to say. Thompson looked at him. The look could have frozen lava. "Officer, you've just tasered a man who has served this country for 73 years. A man who holds the Congressional Medal of Honor." The words hung in the air like a death sentence. Medal of Honor. The crowd was pressing closer now. Phones out, recording everything. Thompson's voice carried across the platform. Calm. Clear. Devastating. "Colonel Morrison isn't homeless. He isn't mentally ill. He's not a troublemaker." He helped Henry to his feet. The old man stood straighter now. Despite everything, he still carried himself like a soldier. He's been consulting with the Pentagon on railroad security for the past 15 years. Unpaid. Because he believes in service. Lies. The businessman who'd noticed the medals earlier stepped forward. "The trains," he said. He was upset about the trains being late. Thompson nodded. "Colonel Morrison helped design the security protocols for Amtrak's Northeast Corridor. He knows that a 15-minute delay can cascade into system-wide failures. He was trying to prevent that." Martinez felt sick. The crowd was staring at him now. The cop who'd tasered a war hero. But Thompson wasn't done. 3 years ago, Colonel Morrison identified a potential terrorist plot targeting Penn Station. His intelligence prevented what could have been the worst attack on American soil since 9/11. The young woman who'd made the phone call earlier pushed through the crowd. She had press credentials hanging from her neck. "Sarah Chen, Washington Post," she announced. "Director Thompson, can you confirm that Colonel Morrison was working undercover?" Thompson looked at Henry. The old man nodded slightly. "For the past 2 decades, Colonel Morrison has been conducting irregular security assessments of major transportation hubs. He poses as a homeless veteran to test response times, identify vulnerabilities, observe suspicious behavior." The crowd was stunned. The crazy old man wasn't crazy at all. The shouting, the erratic behavior. Thompson continued. "It's designed to see how security responds to someone who might be mentally unstable, but could also be concealing intelligence about an imminent threat." A commuter near the back called out, "How are we supposed to know?" Thompson's expression didn't change. "You weren't. That's the point. But someone with Officer Martinez's training should have recognized the signs." Henry's cane was retrieved and returned to him. He gripped it firmly, standing tall despite the ordeal. "The jacket," someone called out. Why was he dressed like that? Henry spoke for himself now. His voice carried across the platform with quiet authority. When you look homeless, people ignore you. When they ignore you, you see everything. He gestured around the station. I've watched drug deals happen 50 feet from security cameras. I've seen people abandon briefcases and watch them sit unclaimed for hours. I've identified 17 potential security breaches in this station alone. The crowd was mesmerized. This wasn't just a story of mistaken identity. This was a master class in sacrifice. But today was different, Henry continued. Today I got emotional. Personal. He looked at Thompson. My grandson was supposed to be on that 417 train, coming home from his first deployment. Afghanistan. The words hit like a gut punch. When the train was late, Henry's voice cracked slightly. I forgot myself. Started thinking like a grandfather instead of an operative. Sarah Chen had her recorder out. Colonel Morrison, how many years have you been doing this work? 23 years of active duty. 23 years of consulting work. But it's not work. Henry straightened his torn jacket. It's service. Like, Thompson checked his watch. Colonel, we should get you medical attention. Henry waved him off. I'm fine, but we need to discuss the security gaps I've identified. Even now. Even after being humiliated, tasered, and nearly arrested. He was thinking about the mission. The crowd began to applaud. Slowly at first, then building. Commuters who'd walked past him like he was invisible were now recognizing him as a hero. Martinez stood frozen. His career was over. He knew it. Everyone knew it. But Henry looked at him. Really looked at him. Officer Martinez. Martinez couldn't meet his eyes. You were doing your job. Sometimes that's all any of us can do. The grace in those words broke something in the crowd. Several people started crying. Thompson's radio crackled. He listened, then looked at Henry. Colonel, your grandson's train just pulled into track 12. On time. Henry's face lit up. For the first time all day, he looked like what he was. A grandfather waiting for his grandson to come home from war. The crowd parted as he walked toward track 12. Slow but steady. Dignified despite everything. The young soldier who stepped off the train was everything you'd expect. Tall. Proud. Military bearing. He saw his grandfather and broke into a run. Grandpa. They embraced in the middle of the platform. The old man who'd been tasered 20 minutes earlier was crying. Happy tears this time. The soldier stepped back, confused by the crowd, the cameras, the officials. Grandpa, what's going on? Henry wiped his eyes. Just some work stuff, Jimmy. Nothing important. But Thompson approached them. Actually, Sergeant Morrison, it is important. He handed Jimmy a folder. Your grandfather's latest report. It's going to save lives. Jimmy opened it. Page after page of detailed security assessments. Threat analyses. Recommendations. All written in Henry's careful handwriting. Jesus, Grandpa. You did all this? Henry shrugged. Someone has to keep watch. The crowd was thinning now. Commuters heading to their trains with a different perspective on the homeless veterans they usually ignored. Martinez approached hesitantly. Colonel Morrison. Henry turned. I'm sorry, sir. I should have. You should have asked questions before reaching for your weapon, Henry said simply. But you're young. You'll learn. He extended his hand. Martinez shook it, grateful for the forgiveness he didn't deserve. Thompson gathered his team. The black SUVs prepared to leave. Colonel, will you be at tomorrow's briefing? Henry looked at his grandson. Wouldn't miss it. As the official entourage departed, Henry and Jimmy walked toward the exit. Grandfather and grandson, soldier and soldier. Behind them, the station returned to normal. Trains arrived and departed on schedule. Commuters hurried to their destinations. But something had changed. In the way people looked at the homeless veterans near the entrance. in the way security personnel approached disturbances, in the understanding that heroes don't always look like heroes. Sarah Chen filed her story that night. It went viral. Within hours. The headline read, "The 92-year-old hero we almost lost." But Henry Morrison never read it. He was too busy writing his next report. Because someone has to keep watch. And after 73 years of service, he wasn't about to stop now. The last paragraph of Sarah's article captured it perfectly. In a world where we're quick to judge and slow to understand, Henry Morrison reminds us that heroism comes in all forms. Sometimes it wears a uniform. Sometimes it wears a torn jacket and carries a walking cane. But it's always there. Standing guard. Keeping watch. Serving silently until the moment we need it most. The old man at the train station wasn't crazy. He was keeping us all safe. And we almost threw him away.